Is an exotic destination on your travel to-do list for your next river cruise? Join us as we explore the Amazon and the Ganges River in India with Avalon Waterways and Uniworld, plus a special look at a custom escorted trip to the Sacred Triangle of India. Stay tuned. My guest today is Lola Vassiliadis, owner of Cruise Holidays Vacations located in Ontario, Canada. Lola and her team of expert travel advisors have been meeting the needs of their clients in and around Ontario and across the nation for the last 20 plus years. Hi, Lola. Welcome back to RTE Travel Talk.
Good morning, Ken. So glad to be back here with you.
It's great to have you back with us. So, listen, Lola, I've been doing a lot of thinking about some of the more exotic destinations in the world, kind of thinking outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know looking around that there's rivers in the world that people perhaps don't even think of, or areas in the world, such as the Amazon and the Ganges River in India, so that some of the top river cruise lines in the world are offering itineraries on, as well as there's even guided tours in India and that sort of thing as well. So I thought today we could spend a little bit of time talking about a couple of these river cruise lines, and perhaps, I do understand that you and Georgia spent some time in India, so I'd kind of like to hear about that too. How does that sound?
Oh, it sounds great.
Perfect. So where do we get started?
Well, let's start with the Amazon.
Okay.
The Amazon is new on the scene.
Right.
Cruise lines have just started basically going into that area.
Right.
So it's really new. But you know what? It's a trip that is a perfect blend of culture and nature.
Okay.
Avalon is down there, so is Uniworld.
Okay.
AmaWaterways is also down there, but Ama is doing a totally different type of thing. They're doing it out of Colombia.
Right.
Whereas both Uniworld and Avalon are going out of Lima.
Okay.
And then they fly to Quito. For example, with Avalon, they have a tour called Inca Empires to the Peruvian Amazon. It's a fantastic journey, and it combines the rich history of the Inca civilization with the natural beauty of the Amazon. And that's something that very few people have really been able to experience.
It really sounds fascinating because there's so much hidden history down there that people I don't think even realize.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, the trip on Avalon, I'll give you a bit of a highlight of that trip. It starts in Lima. And the thing that I particularly like about this trip is you have 5 days touring Lima, the city of Lima, Machu Picchu, which a lot of people don't get the opportunity to see. And I have never seen it myself. I would love to see Machu Picchu, the Sacred Valley, and then a day in Cusco. So you really get some true feeling for that area down there in the history. And then you do 3 full days on the river. And that will give you a good taste of what it's like on the Amazon River. As opposed to Uniworld. Uniworld has a Peruvian rivers and rainforest discovery. It's another exceptional option. However, you spend more time on the river, less time on land.
Right.
Unless you are going to extend that trip, you don't get the chance to go to Machu Picchu or the Sacred Valley.
Right. When I think about it, most people that are going to do this type of itinerary, it's probably going to be a one and done. So it kind of sounds like Avalon may be a better choice. But obviously, it's going to come down to your priorities. But
correct, absolutely. I think in this case, Avalon has a bit of an edge there.
Yeah.
Not having done it myself, and unfortunately, we haven't had any of our clients yet do it to get some really good feedback.
Right.
So 6 days on the river, you're definitely going to be in the nature.
Yeah.
They do have naturalists on board that are going to talk to you and explain what's going to happen. So if you're a real nature buff, that may be the route to go.
Well, a few years back, we interviewed one of our advisors that actually went on that Uniworld Improving Rivers Rainforest Discovery, and it was absolutely amazing. Now, again, it's mostly focused on that, but that's pretty nice.
And you could sort of liken it to when people started going to Alaska. You kind of think, oh, Alaska, You could go to Northern Ontario and, you're out in the wilderness
Yeah.
and beautiful
Yeah.
scenery, etc. But it's not quite the same. So it's sort of like this.
Yeah.
You may think, okay, how many of these little villages can I see
Yeah.
without getting tired of seeing little villages? But I'm sure that every one of them has something different and unique
Yep.
to add to the experience.
No, for sure. Now, I would have to think that both of these itineraries on Uniworld and Avalon would be kind of limited in scope. So if you're thinking about that, you probably want to book it fairly well in advance, I would have to think.
Absolutely, you would. I mean, the ships are not going to be large ships.
Yeah.
There's limited cabin space on these ships.
Nor are they the same type of river ship that you would find in Europe as well.
Correct. They're a little different. So yeah, I would definitely advise people, if you're thinking of it, you're going to have to move on it because they're new, they're up and coming, and it is creating a lot of interest.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, let's move on to the Ganges River in India.
Yes, George and I were very fortunate to have a trip. Actually, we came back just as everything was being closed down for COVID.
Right.
We were over in India,
Yeah.
and we did the Golden Triangle. And it was a marvelous trip. Absolutely marvelous. It was not a cruise, it was just the land.
Right.
But it was one of my favorite trips.
Well, having seen the pictures that you and George sent, it looked absolutely amazing. Now, for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, Lola, explain what exactly is the Golden Triangle.
The Golden Triangle is in the north of India.
Right.
So you fly into New Delhi and you start there.
Right.
From New Delhi, you go to Agra. Agra is where the Taj Mahal is. And boy, that does not disappoint. I have always wanted to see the Taj Mahal, and it was just so magnificent.
Wow.
I just loved it.
Wow.
And then from there, you go on to Jaipur, which is a beautiful city. And there they have the Amber Palace. And there's one picture in particular of a very pink, beautiful building with all the intricate sculptures and everything. And interestingly, that's all a facade. It's not actually, apparently it was done for some royalty that was going to visit Jaipur many years ago.
Right.
And they wanted to cover up some of the not so nice looking buildings. So they created these facades on the front of the building. So they look fantastic, and they do. They are beautiful. But it was just, I thought, very interesting to find out the whole building isn't like that.
How did you find traveling there? Was it crowded? People have this conception that it's like wall to wall people in India. Is that so?
I'd say a little less than the south. When you get into Calcutta and in the southern area,
right,
and Bombay, it's much more crowded. However, it was pretty crowded. But I have to say, the company that put this trip together for us, they did a marvelous job. Absolutely fantastic, top-notch job. And the owner of that agency was with us. And he is Indian, lovely man.
Right.
Still keep in touch with him, still see him. He did a fabulous job. When they picked us up at the airport in New Delhi, there was a small bus, and we got into traffic right away. And he says, you know what, folks, just sit back and relax. Don't get upset because you're not going to go any faster. This is what it is. And, with him being able to tell us all the little nuances of things that are going to happen really made a difference, a big difference. The day that we were in Agra and we were going to the Taj Mahal, they have a celebration called Holi. And what happens there is the locals buy all of this bright colored powder, and they literally throw it at you. I mean, people come back in, if they've been out on the street, covered in green and pink and yellow. So he was a little concerned about us because, how many of us wanted to spend the rest of the day in all these colors? So he went out the night before, and he bought every single one of us a typical Indian outfit that is pajamas, white pajamas, the pants and the top. So we get on the bus, and he said, okay, just so you don't get totally covered, your clothes, we all put on these pajamas, and there was 16 of us walking around the Taj Mahal in these pajamas, and people were just looking at us wondering what is going on. So these are the type of things that he had done for us. I mean, he was marvelous. If anybody wants to do a land trip, I am more than happy to recommend him.
Yeah.
It's breathes travel, and he's just fabulous.
Wow, wow.
So
It's fantastic. What a fantastic experience. So there,
it was.
yeah. So when we talk about India, there definitely is options. There's some wonderful land trips.
Yeah,
You really have to probably work with an expert travel advisor to find that particular company that's going to set up what you're looking for, I would expect.
right. And I have to say the Golden Triangle
Yeah,
is the most popular area for tourists to go to.
right,
We saw the Bengal tigers twice. We did like the safaris,
right.
and we saw the tigers and other animals. So it was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Uniworld has this tour. So you start out with this experience, not as in depth as what we had because we had more time, but you still will get the taste and the experience of the Golden Triangle. And then you fly to Calcutta from Jaipur and you board your vessel. Now, Calcutta, as most people know, is the home of Mother Teresa.
Right.
And that's one of the tours that you can take is to go to her home and visit her home. So then you spend 5 days on the river. It does a round trip Calcutta. So you get on the ship in Calcutta, you get off in Calcutta.
Right.
So it does 5 days on the Ganges. That would be quite interesting to be floating down the river and to see all these beautiful palaces and things on the shore side.
Yes, I would expect so. And then obviously with Uniworld, you're traveling with a well-known, reputable organization,
Yes.
and you're going to get looked after from the day you leave home to the day
Yeah.
you're back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They will have their specialists on board that know everything about what you're going to be seeing. And, for some people, I myself am not a big fan of Indian food. I do not like spicy food.
Right.
This is a great way to do it. Now, we did find when we were in India in the Golden Triangle, the hotels that we were in catered to North American tastes. So I had no problem being able to eat at the hotels.
Right.
When we were out walking around, it was a little more of a challenge for me because, they love their spicy foods. But I managed quite well. And to be on a ship, that's perfect
No.
because they will have both. They will have Indian food and they will have North American.
Yeah. So you can sample the flavors if you like, but if the spice is not your cup of tea, then there's an array of other options available.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to do a 2-week trip, and when you're going that far, you aren't going to go for just 7 days. You are going to make it worthwhile going. And if you're on land and you're not in some of the top-notch hotels, you might find that you're going to have some tummy upset.
Once again, the value of having an expert travel advisor to put this vacation together for you, and that applies both. Not only India, that applies back to South America as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we've got a few tips I don't mind sharing. So basically, if you're thinking of doing something like this, you got to really think about what you're really interested in. Are you interested in the wildlife and the culture, the history, or you want some of each? For wildlife and nature, I would suggest the Peruvian Amazon.
Right.
If you're going more for a rich cultural experience and historical sites, definitely the Ganges.
Exactly. It really comes down to what you're looking for in this. Like really, when we put the two of them side by side, they're really two totally different experiences.
Absolutely, they are.
Yeah. So, do you have any other tips for potential explorers?
Well, something to keep in mind with Avalon and Uniworld. I mean, they are both very good company, but there's definitely a difference in Uniworld and Avalon and Ama. There's a difference price-wise, and there's a difference in the quality that you're going to get. Uniworld is just going to be that little bit higher quality of service, etc. Avalon and Ama do a fabulous job. I wouldn't hesitate to recommend them whatsoever, but it depends on what you're used to traveling and what type of hotels. If you stay in the upper end hotels, you're going to tend to want to go towards Uniworld.
Uniworld is going to be a little bit more upscale, where
Yeah.
Avalon and AmaWaterways are more contemporary.
They border on luxury.
Yeah.
You know, they would call themselves luxury, but Uniworld is definitely luxury.
Right. Any one of the three is going to give you a grand experience.
Absolutely, for sure. And you know, when you're thinking of a trip like this, you really got to think about how much time you can spend. Like I said, you're not going to fly all the way over to India or go down to the Amazon and spend just 7 days. I mean, you're in areas where chances are you're not going to go back there for quite a while. So make the most of it. Spend as much time as you possibly can there and really make the most of the trip.
I mean, it is possible to cram in a 7 day, but I'd have to think that if you do that, you're going to have regrets on the way home, that we didn't get to see
You
this and
will.
we didn't get to see that. No, gosh, we went all this way. We could have stayed a little longer and
Yeah.
taken. It's really worth the extra time. Time can be a factor for people, but it is what it is.
It's so true. And especially going in a day or two early.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself time to acclimatize. Well, all of the Amazon itineraries, when you fly into Lima, because of the altitude, you have to acclimatize. Otherwise, you will get sick.
For sure.
You need a day for sure to just do nothing. Just relax, do nothing, get your body acclimatized to the altitude. It's very important. And even going to India, I mean, that's a big time change. So allow yourself time just to, even if you have to sleep the day away, just do it, because you don't want to be there and dragging around, because you're going to have lots to see, lots to do. And when you're in areas like in India that are very congested, it's exciting on one hand. But if you're really tired and you're kind of irritable, that's really going to play on you. You're not going to be a happy camper.
Yeah. So basically, set yourself up for success by allowing yourself the time to get there and to acclimatize and get ready to really enjoy this exciting adventure.
Absolutely. I mean, we tell our clients all the time, even going over to Europe, do not plan on flying in and getting right on the ship. Give yourself at least a day, because again, it's a time change. Your body has to get used to this.
Well, Lola, this is absolutely fantastic. Is there any other unique and unforgettable experiences you might like to add before we wrap this up?
The Nile River cruises.
Well, yeah. Don't get me started. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. It's fantastic.
Yes. Actually, George and I are doing it in October.
Are you?
We are going to do an AmaWaterways sailing on the Nile. I love cruising, love river cruising, and the more exotic it is, the more I enjoy it.
Absolutely, for sure. So, Lola, if folks wanted to reach out to you or one of your team about one of these exotic vacations, what's the best way to do that?
I think the easiest way is to go to hookedoncruising.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get information on both the offices and all the agents through there. I think that's the easiest for people to do, rather than remember the phone numbers for the different offices.
Well, fantastic. Well, I'll leave all that contact information in the description for folks that might like to reach out. As always, but I think you've already let the cat out of the bag here. I was wondering, because I like to live vicariously through all the wonderful people I get to interview, I have to know where you're off to next. But I think I was just told we're going to Egypt, right?
We're going to Egypt, and then, surprise, we're taking our grandchildren on a river cruise over New Year's.
Over New Year's? Oh, that's different.
Over New Year's. Yeah. Well, the youngest is still in school and trying to get her off school, and everything was sold out. I was trying to do Christmas markets. I could not get space. It was sold out, everybody. So, but we were able to get on AMA, and we will leave on the 26th of December and fly over and have a wonderful time. They're so excited.
We'll have to have you back to regale us with your adventures with your grandchildren at New Year's. How does that sound?
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to.
Super. Well, with that, Lola, I'm just going to wish you and George all the best. May the wind always be at your back for your future travels, cruises, and adventures. And I hope to see you on a Lido deck sometime soon in the future.
Thank you, Ken. I'm looking forward to our next adventure together.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Lola Vassiliadis of Cruise Holidays Vacations. If you would like to reach out to Lola or one of her team about a custom trip to India, the Amazon, or elsewhere, I will leave their contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a suggestion for a future video or a comment, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels.